Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of X Feed. What's up? My name is the Schillerverse, Steve Vaughn, whatever you want to say, and we are going over everything that is happening within Web3, and mainly from you. So if you have opinions, make sure to post them on X, and you never know, if you got a bookmark on it, it might be me. Mr. Bill Noble here. This is a great follow. I personally love his videos. I've been watching them for a long time. Really intelligent and very thought-provoking individual. And today he's saying dips, people want them until they get them. The market kind of completely tanked today, apart from a few things, including Root, which we love. But yeah, it's kind of funny. They're like, yo, we want a dip. We get a dip, and everybody's like, you know what? I am out of here. Square Enix president Takashi Kiryu doubled down on the company's use of both AI and blockchain technologies going forward. I actually have a ton of respect for the big Web2 publishers being pioneers in the advancement of AI and blockchain usage when it comes to developing and monetizing video games. I think this is key, obviously, because if these guys don't do it, who in the halibut is going to? It's not easy, and they become an easy target for the 99% of the video game industry, both professional and consumers who are uneducated. One key quote stuck out to me, and it's one constant that every innovator I admire in the web space all repeat. We hope to leverage those technologies to create new forms of content for consumers. And this is a really great aspect because, when we want to consume something, like, I mean, for half the brands out there, I don't really feel like I'm attached to anything. There's a lot of things that I just don't care about. Like, I'm ready to see the goods and services that the blockchain industry can bring. And yo, what's up, Tagline? How are you, sir? So I think this will be very interesting to see how Square Enix kind of moves forward. We did look over one of their NFT projects that is one of the weirdest looking art pieces I've ever seen, but the game could be very fun. Coming from Miles here, 2024 will be the golden year for crypto airdrops. We've already kicked things off in incredible fashion with the LFG token. We have Reboot. We got more root drops coming. Listen, across the board, there's another one that when I'm pulling out all the tabs, there's like so many bookmarks I have, and there was one that started with a D. If anybody knows what the one that started with a D yesterday, we can bring it up. But apparently it's from like certain ecosystems, from like Cosmos to various like Ethereum layer 2s. I don't know, but apparently there was another airdrop that you can start claiming as of yesterday. I'm going to show you how you can make $50,000 in 2024 farming these airdrops. All right, maybe a little bit of hyperbole, maybe not. What are the goods here? We got to see. Dimension. Yo, Buffalo, thank you. Remind me if I forget, and I'll bring up a tab, and we'll look at that because I did have it saved. I still can't name a more plus EV activity than airdrop farming in crypto. A combination of old funding now coming to fruition. A shift in market conditions and innovation across multiple key verticals has created the perfect storm for the biggest airdrop season in crypto history. Now, if you don't know, there are different applications and sites, protocols, not sure the right terminology here, like Zeely, where companies can go to them and be like, hey, we want to get users. And so these users then like tweets, they participate in the Discord, and it happened within Futureverse, and holy heck, it wrecked. They had to come up with bots that, like, anytime somebody mentioned Zeely, that it would redirect them to a different chat because Gen Chat went nuts. But that's an example where people were doing these in mass numbers to try to get like a $20 reward. But there's other variants that are a little bit more efficient than that. In today's thread, I'm going to list all the airdrops I'm focusing on, and let's see. So for Cosmos, this is a thriving ecosystem and one I'm bullish on in 2024 and beyond. Hence, it's one of my primary airdrop focuses this year. I wrote an entire thread last week, which guides you. Okay, so let's break down a few specific Cosmos ecosystem changes I'm prioritizing. Celestia.org, we talked about this yesterday. We saw Boot saying, yo, I think this is going to be one of the big successors within the space. So interesting seeing another person kind of verify that. Despite the recent TIA pump, the Celestia ecosystem is relatively nascent. It's set to be home to some quality project launches next year, and thus some tasty airdrops. And then it shows kind of some of the different ecosystem components of it. CC2 Ventures posted a great strategy for Celestia. Injective. This one I've never really looked into, but I've heard and seen on the timeline a lot. But the fastest layer 1 blockchain for finance, backed by none other than Binance. Holy sugar. all the time. We see this. It's going to be a running joke anytime we see Animoca or Binance because it's just like literally on everything. But Mark Cuban's also involved, which is interesting. We saw Mark Cuban the other day saying that he wanted to go and buy Bored Apes if you had them for sale, which was super weird happening, I suppose. Yo, what's up, MUC? Good morning, good morning. Osmosis for support. Okay, it just doesn't say anything else on here. But Osmos is a great coin to stake as it gives you access to a constant feed of airdrops. Tia and Say are recent examples. So again, Say is something that a lot of people have been recently hyped up for. Aptos Network, there are many tokenless protocols on Aptos which are set to launch this year. This is an ecosystem that's being slept on, in my opinion. The low on-chain fees make it plus EV to farm versus other chains. Okay, so I want to stop here on this, and we'll move to the next topic in a second, but it is kind of wild to think how many airdrops, how many cryptos, how many everything is getting launched and being produced. Is it going to be sustainable? Is this kind of all a lot of, people are launching stuff and they're trying to cash in on the hype? We have some wild details that I have in some other tabs a little bit later here to highlight how arguably undervalued the entire crypto space is. Of course, we got to talk about a little bit of security. A fake Jupiter exchange, which is one of the biggest on Solana, account with over 420k followers, is sharing a wallet drainer. Do not click. Now, the reason that I want to bring this up is because the way that you can tell whether something is fake or real is obviously they're going to have the ads. When you're scrolling your timeline, there'll be certain things that have like the ad, and a lot of the time they are fake. But for certain situations where it kind of looks official, if you were following a decent amount of people, if you go and like, let me just like grab like a recent thing on here. Okay, so let's see, we're gonna use biotech here. So let's just say that biotech here is a huge exchange, okay, even though I know they're not. If you go and you check and just see if you have people that are following them, usually that's a great sign to see if, okay, like this is legit or if it's potentially a scam. So this is just a small little reminder for security on that one. Yo, Atari looks like a strong pork jet. We talked about Zelia a second ago. We had people that came into the Futureverse Discord and were like, yo, this is a great military project, great pork jet. And you're like, are you okay? Are you okay? Another thing regarding security is if you see comments from anybody, tweets from anybody, and the comments are turned off, that usually typically means it's a scam as well. So a little bit of Canadian crypto news. We seem to bring up Dean a lot here. Dean, if you're watching, what's going on, my guy? But great to see our trading platforms perform well during periods of heightened volatility. So from WonderFi, as BTC sharply corrected to $42,000 this morning, WonderFi's trading platform CoinSquare saw a 329% increase in trading volumes and a 167% increase in the number of orders executed compared to the prior 30-day average during the same time frame. Listen, we got people that are paying attention. We got movement. People, the liquidity is flying. Hey, brother, it's Jover today, but wag me tomorrow. True. This is the founder of Parallel, if you know the TCG game that's getting a hell of a lot of popularity. This man, if you are not bullish on something, this guy basically talks you into being bullish over something. I think he's got great thoughts on the timeline, but he says, it's no secret that I firmly believe in the fat game thesis. Is this man calling us fat? Listen, we like a little bit of Kit Kat chunky as the terminology. Thank you very much. Consider the games/IPs that outlasted their architecture. Super Mario outlasting Nintendo, then Super Nintendo and N64. It lives on to this day, although the underlying architecture/hardware continues to evolve. Hero titles drive consumer behavior, and the architecture serves to improve the experience iteratively, not the other way around. And I thought this was a great insight. And again, it's all about the IP, the story, the games, the things that are created more than the tech. Obviously, we're going to have a multi-chain future, but everything does come down to what you got on there. All right, so this is kind of interesting. If you haven't seen, basically there's been a ton of arguments regarding, so that's Cole and Borovic going back and forth, but basically there you have to like report if you get like $10,000 or more like throughout the year and potentially get charged with a felony within 15 days. I don't know if you've seen this from the other day. And Timo, Root going nuts, hell yeah, I love to see it. But there's just a lot of things, but I I don't know what to think, right? Like, I'm uneducated. One of the reasons that I love doing this X feed is because I get to scroll through, see a lot of people that are expertise in things, and then kind of share what their thoughts are with you guys. And I love it. So, but TLDR from this one person that says it's impossible to comply in many cases. I'm adopting a wait and see approach, and if you try to comply in good faith, you should be all right. But at Crypto Tax Sucks says for the DEX swaps, it's impossible to comply with. If you're swapping, how do you know if an LB provider is based in the US and how much of your swap was received from the tokens in their LP? And a part of this like $10,000 report was that you needed like their social and security number, something where they lived, all these details that like within the DeFi space, you'd probably never get unless like every application is KYC'd. If providing LP, how do you know if a swapper is based in the US and how much of their token was exchanged with your LP in the swap? Because again, if you provide liquidity, you're going to get fees. And then if you earn X amount from these exchanges, like, I mean, how the hell do you connect to them? This would require the DEX to acquire KYC for every user and provide this information to you. Not going to happen. Easier to disqualify Americans from participation. For airdrops would only apply if the counterparty is American business or individual. If party sending airdrop is US based, you should be able to find the business that owns it and report that they are the counterparty. If they are not a US based project, doesn't seem to apply. Transfers to and from wallets, if you own them, you're the counterparty and there is no reporting requirement. If the exchange receives the funds, it's their responsibility to report, not yours. If you receive funds from the exchange, their business information should be publicly available for complying with. However, as Jerry Brito mentioned, there is no clarity as to who you are supposed to be reporting these transactions to. So big kind of just crazy happenings within the space. I'm not really sure. Had a short conversations this morning with somebody about this, and we know that crypto is going to be a political agenda like more than ever, right? And I saw somebody say that like Biden signed off on this, and I don't know. Okay, I'll just take that at face value. Okay, so he approved what this is. Is it something where, okay, they realize that it's bad and then suddenly they do a PR twist and saying, oh, yeah, you know what? We're going to take this back. We're actually going to work with the crypto market to then sway the perspective of, okay, there's no working with these people to, oh, okay, like they're going to come into compliance. Or is it going to be the reverse where now these other parties are going to use this as a campaign leverage saying, hey, these crocs are saying this is a horrible bill. We are going against that. If you dislike what is happening here, vote for us. I think both of them can happen. This could be something that's very short-lived, right? Like, is it something that just immediately goes away? Is this something that kind of goes into effect for like the year and then it disappears depending on who's elected? There's a lot of really weird shit that I think is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, and we're here and we're friggin' ready for it. Yo, Timo, the market cap of Root is still not verified by CoinMarketCap. Why is that, and do they plan on doing so? I think I saw in like the Discord that they said that they were in talks with them about fixing it. I don't know like how quick that happens, but we'll see if that and when that happens. Yo, Distress Pickle, what's going on, my guy? Atari, it's frivolous attack on crypto, straight agenda. Feels like the attack on Trump. This train can't be stopped unless Kramer turns bullish. Pickle, government confiscation of funds will be a major thing. I think it'll be interesting. And we talked on one of the other X feeds here about how somebody was saying that like DEXs are going to get massive because of these centralized exchanges getting targeted for things. But I mean, to be honest, like why wouldn't DEXs be also kind of targeted? Even though I know like once the protocol is launched, do you still have like the founding team? Are they anonymous? Like there's part of me that thinks like we go back into a stage where things do stay rather anonymous for teams where they can, because we had like an area where people were like, we need to know these names, we need to know this and that. But if these things really do get pushed out there, we could see kind of the reversal of that. And guys, if you are here, you're enjoying this, I would love if you have one friend that you could send this stream to, whether you're on X, YouTube, on Twitch. Make sure you know what they use. Like, I mean, I got friends, if there's a cool story that I see, I know that I got to hit up one friend on, Facebook Messenger or Discord or whatever. If you have a friend that you know what platform they use, please send them for that specific one. But I really appreciate you guys. And if you can give a thumbs up on the feed on X or YouTube, that is is greatly appreciated. Okay, as we move on here, do you understand? No, I know nothing. That crypto is building an essential fabric of the internet that will finally allow anyone to transact the same way they send information. Crypto will reshape how we interact with one another. Frequency, reach, and format, which we just talked about. Twitch, X, okay. Things become easier to do, and that unlocks new possibilities and non-linear consumer behavior. Let's not even begin to discuss how crypto rails, i.e. stablecoins, will play a central role for AI agents to transact as we run the risk of being laughed out of the room. Oh wait, we already are and have been, but that's normal and expected. Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. I'm gonna stop singing. Don't you cry no more. Commerce is the glue for thriving civilizations, and crypto is about unleashing commerce. Its sole reason of existence is to allow humans to allocate their resources more in a more efficient, frictionless, digitally native manner. Crypto has created an entirely new resource, provably digitally scarce property enforced by no central authority. Read that again. Provably digitally scarce property enforced by no central authority. I forget at times how profound and impactful that is, but then I hear stories of thriving artists and collectors. Crypto at times is too abstract, but it is important, or its impact is felt by millions today. We need to document those stories more to keep us grounded and focused. I go back to these core principles to remind myself of why I'm here and not to sell internet tokens for less than the value of a once hailed techno revolutionary WeWork. I have no idea what that means. Somebody help me out. The journey is only getting started. Think bigger, accelerate. Yo, full sender off if you know what I mean. Hell yeah, bro. And yo, what's going on? $1 is FUD? True, and true. Yo, Dip Collector, thank you, my guy. I appreciate you sharing that shit on X all the time. You're the man. Guy, you will send it out. Just smash the like button. Atari. Beautiful. Full. Yo, Quiz, appreciate you too. You've been liking all the stuff. You guys are amazing. Okay, listen, who's looking for a job? Yo, are you looking for a job? Nah, man, you're in crypto. You're chilling, baby. But if you are, apparently Animoca is hiring 40 plus Web3 jobs, and it's specifically in the UK and Hong Kong. But if we stop here, compliance manager, graduate project manager, M&A and corporate development analyst, corporate communications role, project manager, like this is, listen, work cooking. Yo, we're cooking. Kind of crazy. There will always be a faster and cheaper chain every cycle. True. What makes one successful in the long term is the community built on it. True. I think an indication for me now is whether there are engaged NFT communities in it as meaningful connections can be built instead of pure gambling. Again, yesterday we talked about how people were saying if this collection was on this chain, I would buy it. What? That doesn't really make us a lot of sense, right? Like, it's about being engaged. It's about being a part of something that's not just like, oh, this is on here, and that's why we like it. There's got to be more to it. Also, it has more consumer-friendly product, which will attract normies when retail comes in. We got to find like a better term for retail. You know what I mean? Like, retail. Okay, dude. Like, I mean, theoretically, right? Like, we're retail. Are we not? Or if you're in the space already, do you get like a level up title, like the OG role in Discord? That's something to ponder. Which is why I'm bullish on Sol as the fast chain for now. Perfect chain for a casino with established NFT communities. Look like Say has potential too. We'll be watching out for more chains that fit this criteria. When we talk about the multi-chain future, there is very much a world where we see different chains being focused for different attributes, whether it's digital assets. Maybe we see, gaming kind of take off in one, which will go down a Ronin thread here very shortly. But it does kind of beg the question of who does what the best. So kind of a hilarious story last night. If anybody was up at like 4 a.m. EST, I made a post and I had to delete it. I look like an absolute Fisherton. And basically the post, I can find it in my Discord. I need to show it because I don't know if it's going to do it justice if I can't. So this is my massive F up, if you will. So when we look at these two images here, I was scrolling the timeline and I thought, What the hell? Overworld stole the art from Valhalla. So I take the screenshot. I'm trying to highlight that this is like the legit Valhalla retweet because that person didn't mention it. And then we had this other one saying, holy F, I got a rare Overworld. And I'm like, bro, they put horns on this and a weapon. The jacket's the same. There's a necklace. Like, what the hell? And this was like when Overworld like first started revealing, or maybe a little bit after. And I wasn't like really familiar with the look. And I'm like, what? People are getting rugged. This is horrible. And yeah, this person was debating right below this comment. They're like, just kidding. And then they showed their other one. So I made this tweet about why'd they steal the art? And then that was in fact false. So I look like an absolute fish. Except there was one person that quote tweeted it saying, this is insane. And this was Tyron. And so we chatted right quick because I DM'd him. I'm like, yo, man, I kind of flubbed it. My bad. And this guy tweets like hell, like a lot, right? So he's just going on about how ordinals will go 0, punk derivatives is 0. And then another guy that I follow screenshots him and says cope harder. And I'm like, man, this is just funny how the world works and it's all connected. So if either of you guys are watching, what's up, fam? But anyway, so opening the year with over 725,000 games of parallel TCG played in closed beta. 10 minutes a game, 7 million minutes, 5,000 days, 13 years of fun. Reason why I'm highlighting this, we are very much getting to a place where blockchain-based games are getting the attention of like some serious grinders and people that are getting out there. And this is cool that this parallel is kind of like I don't know if newer is the right word, but it's cool to see something else in the spotlight that's getting some like massive attention that way, especially from daily users. Okay. We saw Frogana's getting sold, or, well, I don't know if sold is the right word, maybe shilled on the timeline a lot, and then it was mainly from people that were holding apes. And then yesterday, whatever the hell this thing is, starts popping up on my timeline. These apes from Yuga Labs are buying and shilling Punkline's NFT. Is this the recap? What happened the last time? Frogs went from 0.1 to 25F in Solana. What about Punks? Not financial advice. Now, there's another collection that apparently launched on Solana that was like Tiny D's Nuts. And I'm like, bro, we got to have things that are better out here. But anyway, so this is another thing that's getting highlighted. 5,000 pixel punks. One thing I've noticed is it seems that newer collections are not going to the 10K realm, which I think is great. I don't understand why we had so many collections launch upwards of 10,000 collections back in the day. Obviously, you know, everybody kind of like copied each other, like, oh, what do we do for the size? Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so if you want to check that out, those were getting super shilled on the timeline. The world's smartest duck. Bro, the tiger is shook. He doesn't. Where did the duck go? My lunch is gone. Yo, is that the duck behind him? No way, bro. Holy. Yo, ETX, is Brute doing well? Love it. Love it. Yo. That's the smartest duck in the world. What's the fastest growing gaming blockchain? Ronin Network, and it's not even close, apparently. 1.2 million addresses added last year. 2 of the biggest games in the space call it home, and the network effects are just beginning. So let's see what is going on. Ronin was built by the team at Sky Mavis, creators of Axie Infinity, a pioneer in blockchain gaming, which, by the way, had some pretty impressive stats in 2023, which... Again, 662,000 interacted with the game. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Pixels Online joined and quickly saw the Ronin effect, shooting to the #1 blockchain game with over 120,000 daily active users. And as the users grow, so too does the value of the Ronin network, which, again, that's a pretty crazy jump right there from beginning to here. Again, that's like doubling within just a month. There's now 134 million plus total value locked, 12 million wallets, 220K daily active users, and this is talking about Ronin as a whole, 34.6 million NFT volume on the Mavis network, which ensures royalties. That's going to be another big thing that is highlighting, I think, throughout 2024 of these chains trying to keep things on their own marketplace to enforce these royalties. And the market cap of Ronin went from 40 million to 500 million in 2023, over 12x growth. It also seems very smart to me that a lot of the focus is on the Asia market and mobile first. This is something within Futureverse, which we've saw where they've gotten partnerships with Catalyze Research and some other big players within the Asian realm, and it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of spurns. And again, we talked earlier about how the U.S. and crypto and all these like other regulations and things that are going to have to do. Like, of course, this stuff is going to move away. More 21 million Ronin was distributed to stakers over the last year, and validators of the network include Google and Imoca brands, Nansen, DApp Radar, along with community members too. We've seen this within Root, where we've had some big players like the Catalyze Research, which you might not be familiar with. But it's interesting to see, like, okay, like if Google is running a network or a validator for Ronin, like that's a pretty damn big deal. They also launched RNS, Ronin Name Service. 20K gamer tags were bought in the first month. And we know that the ecosystem is early and growing fast, and there will be very likely airdrops from games and partners. And of course, Pixel has been announced from their blog. And then there's a little bit more there, but yeah, so I thought that's kind of interesting. I played with Ronin like a little bit when I first started getting into the space, and like Axie Infinity was all right, like it was cool. But it's cool to see that, you know, they're still in the spotlight and Ronin is getting attention. So if you don't know, we posted on YouTube a while ago. This was also on X. I need to open a new tab here to show it, but there was these XI nodes and we tried to highlight it. Shout out to my boy, Ray Stinger, because he's like, bro, this came up and he's like, man, you should check this out. And I was like, you know what? I have no idea what the hell this is, but we made a video. Look at this. 3 weeks ago, 1.8K views. Yo, 2 minutes of me yapping. Hell yeah. So these went out. I think it was like a bonding curve in a way, or in terms of like the more people that bought, that the higher the price went for them. But now Xi apparently is now getting on the Binance launch pool, and it's about running a node easily. We have Dingaling shilling it, and apparently they're doing this XI Odyssey, a campaign focused on educating the industry about XI, a gaming network developed with some other people. But the weird thing with this is that I didn't realize at the time is that I guess they're like geo-blocking people from the States, which has happened with ApeCoin and some other things. And it's like, damn, man, like things are not looking great if you are in the United States. These opportunities, these things, but you've been visited by a cat. Meow. What? All right. And look at this. Here's some baby ducks getting reacquainted with a friend that was injured. And now they get to live life together again. Look at how happy these ducks become when they realize their little flapper is here and back together. Look at those tags, the tail wagging. Look at that. This reminds me of the Aristocats. Okay, we got Buddy crying on here. The emotion is unbeknownst. Love to see the family back together. Equity. This has been talked about a fair bit because we've had two collections randomly over the holiday period be like, yo, we're giving our holders equity. And is it good or bad? In the last few weeks, we've heard from projects like The Plague, Rec Guy, and the Half BAY Seed, which I think they do like can't license your BAYC IP to cannabis packaging. And then they will be giving out equity to their holder. Everyone is bullish on these announcements. Unfortunately, I'm the opposite. And again, this is an opinion piece, so curious if anybody's familiar with the lingo that will be used here, if you agree or disagree. In my opinion, for the majority of projects, this move is likely bad for the project, its community, and the NFT space in general. Yes, I'm sure I'll get some hate and FUD calling for this, but let me try and break down my thought process. Let's first start with what others have raised as the good from my understanding. These reasons can be summarized as follows. 1, giving equity is a better business model for NFT projects. 2, doing this rewards community involvement. 3, granting equity will enhance community participation. And then 4, allows building a business to leverage network effects of the community. Let's now break down the counters for why it is bad. Running a Web 2 business is very different from running a Web 3 project. Legal documentation, valuations, audits, and potential licensing requirements are just a start. Also, the moving fast and breaking things attitude doesn't work in Web 2. In Web 2, the stakes are substantially higher and the consequences real. Web 3 allows experimentation and iteration with an accessible global audience, which is very true. Like that's one of the first things you kind of realize once you get in the Web 3 spaces. You're not just talking about, you know, your local mom and pop store. You have a global audience. Web 2 does not. I imagine projects pivoting into this equity model will soon get a reality check and lose the hallmarks of what made them a success in Web 3. It's bad for the community. Community is one of the greatest assets of a Web3 project. I've long held that having a community is a requirement in Web3 and can't just be an afterthought. Having a great community keeps project founders in check. Bringing in new members allows the project to stay relevant and evolve. But in the equity model, some OG members will be given a lower class of shareholdings in a company with no guaranteed dividends. The control and voting rights shares will remain with the founders. And side note to remember, not all equity is created equally. This company now has obligation to maximize the return to its shareholders and not its community. The risk then is that the community becomes an afterthought. Profits, whether you like it or not, will have to take precedent. And apparently it's bad for the NFT space on the counter argument. If a project wasn't centralized enough before, this equity model will require pure centralization. If we consider decentralization a fundamental principle of Web3, then this is clearly a step back. Centralization also runs a further risk of regulation, which is, I think, kind of the biggest thing when you see these is they all highlighted, hey, there's no promise of anything that you guys had when you bought this. This was a gift. Remember the Howey test, anyone? Another step back is the requirement to KYC. Shareholders can't be anon. This KYC with your full name, address, even date of birth for some jurisdictions is public record. I don't really know why there's such disdain with KYC. Like, I get it. I think the argument is that when we see how in certain parts of, like, I don't know if it's, I think it's China, where like if you have like a bad social security score or something, like apparently they were showing it on the bus or you're not able to access certain things. Like there's a point of like, okay, if the KYC is like, it's prohibiting me from doing certain things, it sucks, but I don't really get the dislike for it otherwise. Finally, as the bull market proceeds, we'll likely see many copycats of this model evolve, and I expect scammers to take full advantage of it. Conclusion, the gifting of equity to OG holders is an experiment that may have some benefits. These benefits appear to be vague. It may work, but I'm not so convinced. Regardless, people love being bullish, and so I don't expect the majority to agree with my position. The market is likely going to be short-sighted and love these announcements. However, in my opinion, the clear downsides outweigh the benefits at this stage, though for what it's worth, I'd be happy to be wrong. Pork chip. True core. You playing Top Shot Fast Break or are you totally out of Top Shot? No, I'm pretty much totally out of Top Shot. Yo, Root is ripping. Hell yeah. And those punks from before are 3 soul now. Wag me. Love to see it. So if you guys have any comments about this or anything else that we've kind of looked at, I think that, you know, I don't really have a strong opinion one way or another, but it is interesting that they're talking about how you now have to like incentivize shareholders versus your like community. Right, but your shareholders are technically your NFT holders, but then there's like a flip flop between that. Now that they're different, like it's one of those things that like we'll kind of just have to wait and see what it is like. Okay, if you guys haven't seen this, this is the $8 million fluff. We've named it SBF, Sam Bankman Fraud. Wagman. Truey. And then this was from the tax loss harvesting the other day. If you haven't seen that, some absolutely crazy sales happened. Insane NFT tax loss harvesting happening yesterday. $98,000 loss took on this Bored Ape. $33,000 loss on this Cool Cat, $35,000 loss on this Moonbird, another $128,000 loss on a Moonbird, another $119,000 loss on this Moonbird, $41,000 loss on this V-Friend, 92,000 United States dollar loss on this Mutant Ape Yacht Club, and Steve Aoki coming through with a whopping $112,000 loss. Holy sugar shit. That's crazy. Yo, Quiz, you 100% sold your OG moments from Top. Yeah, I sold them like a while ago. I mean, I have like a couple of moments, but they're definitely not of any value whatsoever. Pro tip for the 2024 meta: express extremely controversial opinions online so that people constantly argue about you, leveraging your brand, your popularity, and thereby your influence. I don't know. I don't really like arguing with people a whole lot unless they say something that's kind of like, you know, way in the hell left field. Random note for anybody that's like talking about a project. I saw this tweet and I was like, damn, okay, like this is a good example. Pluid is going to absolutely surprise people in 2024. We really haven't even started yet. What the hell's Pluid? Okay, so now I have to copy paste this, put it over there. If it's got its own page, highlight that, link it. whenever you're posting something and it's attempted at, whether it's like, I guess we'll say like educating, right? Because it's not, shilling is kind of a, we'll reserve that for stuff that we do on here. But I mean, just if you have links for stuff, always highlight it, be in depth. Remember, people are going to see your tweets and they might not know the context behind it. So always try to give the most that you can around it. Congrats to Base for being named Project of the Year. The best L2s are building on Optimism's OP stack and opting into the superchain. The best apps are building on top of the best L2s, and so all roads lead to Optimism. Okay, so is Base with Optimism? I'm confused as hell by this, because I thought they were two different things, unless they're just saying this is like an extra point. But anyway, Decrypt's 2023 Project of the Year is Base, and I think that that is interesting. So congrats to that, and we'll see if Base really kind of picks up steam here or not. Talking about Root here right quickly, we've gone over it a whole bunch. Obviously, there's a billion videos on there. We're seeing Root absolutely rip today while the market is tanking. A good post here from R2 highlighting that for Say, which is already massive up there at 1.7 billion market cap, Sui at 1 billion, Tia at 1.9 billion, Aptos, I believe, at 3 billion, and then Root at 62 million. So currently, listen, things are looking good. We'll see once this price action really picks up here. But of course, as I've tried to highlight, FIFA, Tencent, Warner Bros. Music, Nvidia, Alibaba, Spotify, Reebok, Ripple, and more, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so they're using Optimism Tech. Thank you, MUC. Sorry, I'm a little bit ignorant on some of the technical details, so thank you very much for breaking that down. We do have a video here about Silo. I was going to play it. I'm not going to do it. That's like 3 minutes. If you want to check this out, it's on my X feed. It's on the YouTube page. Go check it out. It's just go check out the recent videos. Listen, I try to make like a fun little goblin one here. We have other X feeds. People are yapping about this Quest coin. That's a Silo video. More breakdowns on this. The Rainbow Wallet, if you don't know and you've not heard of Optimism, you might actually have an airdrop. The Rainbow Wallet will be able to help you show. We got other things. And Van Eck, if you've seen on Van Eck in the segment page, they actually reached out to me wanting to do some content creation for them. So on some of their pages, there's that. And this interview here with Matt is a part of that. I'm going to throw that in the Twitch chat. If you guys are wanting to go check that out, that'd be greatly appreciated. And thanks to Segment and Van Eck for reaching out to have me do some content for them. Okay. So Steamboat Willie, the other day there was an NFT collection that launched, and it was basically the art of Steamboat Willie, where the early kind of Mickey Mouse rendition went to public domain, and they went all the way up to 0.3. And yeah, it's absolutely Jover. It's done. It's dusted. We had a good time. Sayonara. This is why I just don't really chase anything, because it is Jover. Apple today, which yesterday, apologies, day late, is down about 3% after a downgrade. It lost about 100 billion in market cap. That's more than the entirety of Solana, Cosmos, Arbitrum, Optimism, Celestial, and Polygon. Let that sink in. I wish I had like an image of like a sink walking in. If anybody knows, you know. It's crazy when we talked about earlier about like, we have all these tokens, the valuations, like, is it actually sustainable to have all these things? And then you look at this and you're like, damn, a single company losing 3% is bigger than some of the biggest crypto ecosystems as an entire whole. This is coming from ArcDeb, who's working on Hypetopia. Game platforms are going to be the major market share holders for game distribution in less than 10 years. It won't be the likes of Steam or traditional console game sales anymore. It'll be like Roblox, like in similar creator supporting platforms of the world. Roblox is still a ways off from nailing this to 100% though, in my opinion. Game developers will silo to the platforms they are familiar with, and that they can pump 10x quality games and content out 10x faster over traditional engines like UE5 and Unity that still require fragmented distribution of resulting games, while getting immediate unlocks of 10x distribution. Players will silo to the platforms where the best content and incentive structures, ownership, and content liquidity structures are. I imagine this will be somewhat parallel to what we've seen with the app stores in the last decade, but platforms specific to games, and instead of an app store for a specific device, these platforms are device agnostic. There is a huge 100 billion plus moat that can be won here by the company that plays that right. And obviously a little bit of a shill of what they're doing, but the way we're building Hypetopia GG's infrastructure, systems, and content creator and developer tooling is placing bets on this thesis. I thought that was kind of interesting. Big post here. I don't want to read the whole thing, but basically they're like, yo, we're hella bullish on the Mochaverse NFTs. This letter is tiny, but let me read this right quick for you. Here I'm calling for mental shift of Mocha NFT holders. Calling for a mental shift of the NFT holders, okay? Open mind. Big fish in the small pond. We were the minority who had been through everything together. We built Mochaverse together, holders of fun, and we all know each other. Just like a family, we worked very hard to educate the community about what Mochaverse really is about. Resources are limited. In brackets, normal growth for the pie. Into now the big fish in an ever-expanding ocean. Resources are endless. Exponential growth to the pie as we bring the rest of the participants and infrastructure into the ecosystem. The bigger the ecosystem grows, the more demand for Mocha NFTs and the more resources to expand the network. Mocha NFTs become the privileged OG, sharing the larger portion of the pie. And then they bold in there, we grow together. So interesting. They're calling for a mind shift on that. This is for anybody that's having problems with wanting to wait for Say. It's kind of early Top Shot vibes. A lot of people also kind of complaining about the Party Bear swap that happened or is happening, where some of the sites aren't loading, things aren't, going as swimmingly as possible. This is from Easy Eats Bodega. Friction is high key one of the most bullish things in this space. When a blockchain is not easy to leverage at this moment, you should be figuring out how. When something is not easy to buy, whether it's an NFT, a meme coin, etc., you should be figuring out how. Once it's effortless, your edge is gone. And I thought that I like that sentiment. It's really neat and kind of makes you think. And you're like, okay, I hate this. People are saying that these guys are supposed to make things frictionless. It's not that way right now, but when it does, correct, the edge is gone. Yo, Escobar, what's going on? Still makes no sense from the one before. Yeah, the mental shift. We grow together. Yeah, I mean, okay, listen, just say that, fam. You're chilling. Okay, I want you guys to take a look at this. I saw somebody make a thread here about the best fast food places. I have no idea what Werner Schnitzel is. We love Wendy's. Taco Bell, I feel like people are 50-50 on, depending on if they're like drunk or not. Wingstop, I've never been to. Dairy Queen, listen, we love the milkshake. Five Guys is amazing. Hella expensive. McDonald's and Beat Terror is a criminal, but American McDonald's sucks compared to Canadian. No offense. Chick-fil-A should be in the A, if not the best tier. And Firehouse Subs, why is this in Never Had? Unbelievable. Crazy. But it's funny seeing the way that things are broken down. Also, Papa John's need to be up in S tier for their Shack-a-roni. Wendy's are closing a lot of stores. Really? That's interesting. We had one that opened up like about a year ago, kind of near us, and I thought that was it was interesting. But if a lot of them are closing, are you in the States or are you somewhere else? So this is interesting. Not that we bring up FUD a whole lot, but it is kind of a good note, just because I don't know who the hell's watching. There's a lot of people out there and you kind of just learn from hearing different things or running into it. But Eat Insanity, Chris is saying, pretty funny. A lot of notable grifters can't grift on ETH anymore, so they move to another chain. It's weird that there's a lot of people that do get involved with every project under the sun, and then when things like kind of don't work, then they suddenly jump and they're all in on like a different chain. I get it. The space is very interesting, but just kind of realize, even myself, if you're watching and we talk about things, I have a huge bias in this. Do your own research, get other opinions, check things around, because everybody's got thoughts on things, but just, realize that, everybody's got a little bit of a priority here. You are not bullish enough on digital art in 2024. I mean, I think I'm pretty bullish. I think I'm pretty bullish, to be honest, respectfully. But I mean, okay, listen, maybe I'm not bullish enough. If Ved is saying we're not bullish enough, guys, listen, let's get more bullish on here. It's January and overworld play is about to cook. Some things to watch on the PFP side. Incarnas, which is what they just launched, the reveal. These are the Incarnas. On January 3rd, which is today, and that's what happened in the morning. If you were here earlier on the stream, CAC W to that happening. Overworld to open bidding for Incarnas on Blur upon reveal. Does this imply that they are sweeping their own floor if they're bidding for Incarnas on Blur? Like that seems odd. Maybe I'm, and again, this is, as I just said a second ago, with the bias, like I don't have this. I was shocked about how much hype they had, and I think that they still have like a ways to go to produce. So might present things in potentially like a funny way, but I'm just kind of like, questioning things overall. But on the token side, Incarnas and key holders expected to get token benefits. Nice. MNCT pre-sale this January. All holders of keys and Incarnas can participate, as well as those with Incarna's whitelist who tried to mint but failed to mint. So I guess they're doing another sale for the token. Instead of just going for the NFT holders. I expect dips on Incarna's floor upon reveal. A good window to enter for those who want to be in this Web3 gaming ecosystem or those who want to farm the MNCT airdrop. Overworld is definitely something to look into if you're interested in Web3 gaming. Exterio Games is its mother company, and they raised $400 million in funding, $15 million of which came from, say it with me, Binance Labs. Do what you do with this information, not financial advice. P.S. I have 4 of them and I feel underexposed. Okay, cool. So for this is coming from like the Overworld site. The reveal is live. The benefits for their token is that there's rewards at the token generating event, priority access to token presale, ETH allotment, and bonus. MNCT per Incarna held. This is interesting because for the grapes, it was like a 10% bonus when they did their pre-sale token. And extra benefits yet to be announced. I have no idea what extra is, but I guess that's kind of what they're building on or with. Rare traits multipliers. This is interesting because I feel a lot of collections have launched and the benefits of rare traits literally just come down to, okay, the aesthetics, but it seems that there's going to be additional multipliers for rare traits. Early game access, be the first to play the most ambitious Web3 RPG built with digital ownership first, and then more to come. I think the art looks pretty all right, to be honest. I think that's it looks decent, but again, we'll kind of see what kind of a big splash that Overworld has. Part 2 of Gordon Goddard buying every project in existence but Moonbirds. 2024 is the year of Moonbirds for real. Okay, so as somebody that holds fluffs, man, seeing that guy buy everything except fluffs, and I'm sitting here like, man, I think these are going to be great. You're like, man, damn it, Gordon. But it is kind of funny seeing him on the timeline buying a whole bunch of stuff out there. And of course, Jay has the daily Moonbirds FUD in there. NFT bros choosing a cartoon picture to sell for rent money. True, and truey. 30-day NFT trading volume now compared to this time last year. So in 2023, which I believe this is here, or I guess now 2024, because this was posted on the 24th, which, yeah, come on, guys, get with it. Bitcoin has 874 million in sales. Ethereum, 344 million. Solana, 328. You can see some of the other ones on here. And then you go over to this, and Flow, 38 million. Flow isn't even in the top 10 for NFT sales anymore. We have Wax on here. Panini doesn't. Tezos, Theta. It's crazy. But Ethereum had the lion's share back in 2022, 2 billion back in NFT sales volume in 2022, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And so we'll see a lot of chains come and go. And I think a lot of this, when you look at the two comparatively, okay, what's the difference between these ones growing and this? Well, maybe the partnerships, what they offer, the brands, et cetera, et cetera. Breaking, BTC flips Meta in market cap. The market cap of Bitcoin, 886 billion. The market cap of Meta, 877 billion. So a single company that's massive, Bitcoin just flipped. There is a lot of room to run if this Web3 thing really does eat everything. That's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. Again, from Monday through Friday, we're going to be doing these. Again, the time changes may vary. If you have any friends, hopefully you do, please send this over to them as we grow out here. And if you guys do see anything on the timeline that you find interesting, feel free to tag me. It's at Schillerverse on X. And if you guys can give a thumbs up on whether you're watching on X or YouTube, it's greatly appreciated. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your, what day is it? Wednesday, depending on where you are. And again, January 4th, supposed to be a big day for what Futureverse and Root is going to be. So